Hello and welcome back to the ministry. This is Taj McCameron, and today we're talking about elevation through growth when you're looking for a leap. This is something that I've had to learn to walk through in the past 9 years, maybe, as I've been walking with the Lord. When you give your life to God, the faith walk isn't one that seemingly makes sense to anyone else. It only makes sense to those that have to walk it in a similar fashion to the way that you do. Now, for me, I know that I've had to grow over time in leaps and bounds, but some of my leaps weren't as big as I would have thought that they would have been. I've had drastic changes in my life, but I've been going through drastic changes in my life for the past 17, 18 years. From the point in time of my mother passing away to moving and having to move so frequently. My mother was the stability I had in my life, and my life has not been stable since then. And some might say, well, you're an adult, you should take care of yourself. It's not a factor that I don't realize. It's not a factor that isn't something that I've been working towards my entire adult life. But sometimes what God will do is He will use the foolish things to confound the wise. I went through a season after my mother passed away where I was fighting to get my life to align with what everyone else thought it should be. Get the 9-to-5 job, get your own apartment, take care of your own bills, take care of yourself. I mean, it's a rite of passage. You come out of high school, you go to college, you learn how to maneuver and matriculate with other people, live in dorms and all that kind of stuff, all this type of thing. But God didn't work that way with me. I actually went to college while I was at home. Then while I was midway through college, I started having to move all over the place. And it wasn't until I gave my life to God, went through a season of pruning with the Lord, then I went to New York, and I was actually for 3 to 4 years living in a dormitory lifestyle. And I was like, and I kept thinking about while I was there, man, this is like the dorm life that I would have probably had I went away to college. Except the environment was much, much different than a college dorm life. With that happening, each level brought a new elevation. And the way that each level brought a new elevation was I had to move. Whether I was moving from room to room or I was moving from one location to another location, there was always something that moved to show that you are no longer where you were and you are now in a new place. But we have a tendency that when the Lord shows us a vision, He shows us the end from the beginning, and we're like, oh, that's where I'm supposed to be. Okay, bet God, yes, let's get there. Oh my goodness, this is the vision. Great. You write the vision down and you make it plain upon tablets for runners to go and get. But then you're like, okay, where my runners at? Jesus, what we doing? We out here. Let's go. And God's like, you ain't ready for that, yo. I need to get you to a point that you are ready to deal with runners. You don't even like being around people. Why would I send you runners? And then as you're going through the elevation, he tests you even more. And as he's testing you even more through that elevation, he allows people to even attack you during that period of time. You're like, whoa, God, I thought you sent me here and you allowed this person to be in my personal space and you're letting them attack me? That don't make no sense. That doesn't seem like something that you would do. That doesn't seem like it's a sensible thing to do. Especially if your word says, I will protect you and keep you from harm. And these people are acting crazy. And he's like, did they touch you? Did they put their hands on you? I'd be like, no, they didn't do that. But darn it, if the things that they did do weren't close enough. It's enough to make an average person afraid. But because you're a child of God, God will make you sit there through it. And he's like, sit still. I got it. Under control. Sit still. I got it. It's under control. And you be looking at him, under control? Under control? How is this control when this person is threatening me? Because see, I had a mom when I was growing up. The second I said, Ma, somebody's bullying me at school. She's in the car first thing in the morning. She's taking her walk around the campus. And then she's coming to my classroom and having a moment, one with the teacher, in front of everybody. She's that type of parent. She's in front of everybody like, who did what to my child and why? So one, she embarrasses the teacher. And I thought that was hilarious. Two, she sometimes has a moment with the child that did it, which you're technically not supposed to do. But irregardless, my mom fought my battles. And it's kind of funny. It's like, but think about that. Mothers and parents, and my coach was just talking about this in a video. She was talking about how her daughter has a personality that she will calmly and patiently wait and do something. And she went right past her daughter and asked for exactly what her daughter wanted because she felt like that's what she needed to do for her. But she knew that there's coming a time that she can't continue to do that. My mother never did that. My mother did that all the way up until the time in which she passed away. So by the time that I came into adulthood, I was in shock because of the fact that, wait, I don't have nobody to defend me anymore. And God is kind of like the father figure, and your father, sometimes he's not going to save you from the problem. He's going to let you go into the problem, and it's like, well, I need you to get your own sea legs in this moment. I know it feels cruel that I'm not helping you in this moment, but I need for you to see that you can handle pressure. And you elevate. As you pass that test, you elevate to the next one. As you pass that test, you elevate to the next one. As you pass that test, you elevate to the next one. And you're sitting there like, God, I done went through 15 layers. When do I get to where you told me I'm going? And he's like, I would love to get you where I told you I was going to take you, but you got to pass every level. Why? It's like a video game. When you're playing a video game, you may know the storyline enough to know where you're going to end up. But it doesn't mean that you're not going to still have to fight the bosses of every single level of that game. Because if you skip the boss in this level that you were able to handle, and I take you to the next level, you still got to fight through that level. And the fact that I skipped you a level and you weren't ready for that skip, that level is going to whip your behind because you didn't go through the level prior that allotted you the wisdom, the guidance, the direction, and the ability to maneuver in a way in which you were supposed to maneuver in order to be able to be prepared for that level. But we want to leap. Ladies, you want Mr. Right. Lord just dropped Mr. Right in my lap. That's what we want. And God's like, okay, what's characteristics of Mr. Right? And then we're like, let me write down the characteristics of Mr. Right. So we sit down and we write all the characteristics of Mr. Right. For one, most women don't do this. They don't sit and write down mentally, emotional, physical, spiritual, and social characteristics and financial characteristics of Mr. Right. They pretty much are more so focused. I need him to be 6'5". I need him to be dark skinned. I need him to be, he has to have a good body. He has to have this. And he needs to have a charming smile. And he needs to this and that and the other. And then they're like, and the devil send you that in a minute. But how are you going to deal with this person in personal relations if you don't know how to deal with yourself, if you don't know how to deal with emotions, if you don't know how to stand in tough situations, if you don't know how to stand, and then you're going to have children together and you're going to have to be able to maneuver and deal with one another, not only for one another, but to be able to deal with one another in relation to what your children need, okay? And you're what? And you want God to skip you. Just give me my husband. Boris Kodjoe said it this way years ago. He said, so you all have a list of what you want the man to become. But are you becoming the woman that that man wants? Mic drop. So you're sitting there wondering why you haven't gotten married to Mr. Right, and then you get tired and then you get into a hissy fit because of the fact that, Lord, you still ain't seen my man. It's been 6 years. What have you not done? Go back and figure out what you haven't done to come into alignment with the list of characteristics and the things and goals and stuff that you said that you wanted to have with this man. Reevaluate. Oh, that's why I haven't done it. Let's move out of the man category. Job. Lord, I want to have a salary of this, and this. I want to be a corporate this, that, and the other. I want this, that, and the other. I want to be able to have my own this, that, and the other. I want to be able to. I want you to replace my income so that. And then God's like, all right, I got you. I got an idea for you. He gives you a download. Yes, that's the business that I wanted all my life. How we doing this, God? Starts with you doing X, Y, and Z. And you're like, but I want to be over there. I want to have the millions of dollars. How did it? And God's like, first I want you to write a business plan. Then I want you to start on the miniature level where you're getting your influence up, where you're observing social media, where you're doing X, Y, and Z, where you're doing the research for the company in which you're desiring, in which you desire to build. You're determining what the multiple levels of promotion and all this type of stuff, because you said you wanted to be Miss Corporate. I'm about to give you a corporation, but you got to learn how to operate it. I just want to be. And right now, some of us have gone through the levels. Some of us have gone through the multiple tiers of what it was that we are called to do and operate in. And we're kind of at that phase where we're ready to make that jump and nothing's moving. And you're like, I found myself in the past couple of days, and maybe it's partially due to the fall blues. This is a season where things start to feel a little bit different. And because of that, I have to kind of keep my mood up. Because if I don't, I can find myself not consciously slipping into a phase of, I'm so sick and tired of this. Last year around this time, I was freshly back in town. So I was kind of enjoying just being back in town. But at the same time, I'm kind of was still having that desire. I wanted to see movement. See, the thing that people don't understand about me is I got a lot of things going at once. I got courses, I got books, I got this, I got that. I got a podcast, I got the ministry. I got all of these things operating all sequentially at the same time. And the thing about it is, I'm at the point now that I need to determine, okay, what am I going to do at this point? Where am I supposed to be taking my life at this point? It was funny. I listened to my coach's video. I'm actually glad I listened to it before recording this video because it helped me kind of organize my thoughts of how I was going to express this. Because a lot of us are in a season where we feel like we should have been farther and done more. These past 2 years, it's almost been like, God, for real? I was moving at a momentum about a year and a half ago where at the rate I was going, I felt like I was going to get somewhere by this point in time. And then all of a sudden, God pulled you up from where you were and dropped you in a valley. And you kind of like, so you brought me back to this. And you're like, I thought we was past this point. We went through elevation, we grew, we fought, we warred, we've done, we've delivered, we've gotten this, and you dropped me back here. And not only did you drop me back here, all of the money I had, all of the resources I had, all of the connections I had have either been put on pause or the money is just gone. And you're like, where they do that at? And you're like, I was being responsible. I was paying my credit cards off. I was doing everything that I was supposed to do. Everything was getting done. I was sowing my seeds. And I'm sitting there thinking, the next season is supposed to be more abundant than the last season. And it's like he dropped you in a valley and you lost everything. And you're like, where they do this at? Where they do this at? I thought I was supposed to be increasing. I thought I was supposed to be taking a leap. And I looked like I done fell in the canyon. And not only that, the canyon looks a lot like the place I started at. So am I going to be crawling my way out of here through the same amount of stuff that I went through the first time? Or am I actually at the end? Because sometimes God will take you back to the beginning before he takes you to your next level. And you're like, but this beginning looks a lot like the beginning. And God's like, stop having a panic attack. Stop having a panic attack. You're only there temporarily. I need to sit you here before I moved you there. You're literally going to have a catapulting moment that you're going to go back past where you were when I'm done with this season. I had to work some things out in you, and I had to work some things out over there. Because y'all be sitting up there thinking, for those of y'all that are getting married and looking for marriage, that when the Lord's working on you, they're not working on your goddamn spouse. So it's like, you assume that Mr. Right's already perfect and he just needs to drop you next to him. And God's like, I gotta work on him too. Because when you made a decision, I had to start tapping on him to say, hey, I'm sending you somebody. And sometimes that man will sit up there and say, I didn't say I wanted that person. I didn't say that I was looking. I didn't say, well, I may have said I was looking or innuendoed I was looking, but I didn't say I wanted her. And God's like, okay, we're going to fight. And I'm going to have to break your hip until you come into the understanding that the real reason that I need you to hook up with her is because where I'm taking you, you ain't going to be able to do it without her. And they're sitting up there like, but I didn't say I wanted to go through all of this. And God said, pay closer attention to her. And then they pay closer attention and they start following you and they start looking around and they're like, oh, she actually isn't all that bad. Ding, 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 ding. And then the Lord must start pruning them like he pruned you. And you're sitting there like, but he looks like everything's good with him. It's like, not for where I'm about to take him. Because sometimes God will have them where they are and they might drop into their own little valley. It may not be as bad as what your valley was, but and they haven't hit that point yet. But he's prepping them. And he's got to prep and prepare and do all this, that, and the other with them before he can even get with you. And he's preparing them parallel to preparing you, and you're seeing them because that's the way that they got to be in front of the camera. Just like you got to be a certain way in front of your camera. Because don't everybody need to know what you're going through. Don't nobody need to know what they're going through behind closed doors. But the point being is God's about to change and shift and take the leap. And it's about to be a shift. But you're sitting there saying, why am I still here? Which brings me to what my coach was saying this morning. She's like, a lot of us are in seasons where we thought things were going to happen. They should have happened by now. So things that the Lord showed me that was supposed to happen about 2-3 months ago. And I'm still where I am. And I'm like, didn't you say about 2.5 months ago I was supposed to be doing this? I'm about 2 months late on that, and don't nothing look like it's moving. But everything else on the opposite side looks like it's moving smoothly. So what am I missing here? And God's like, wait a minute. You have no idea what I'm doing. And then it's like God is preparing you for the door in which he's preparing you for. But you're sitting there saying, I don't know if I'm ready for that door. Why? The past, I'll say 8 to 10 hours. Because last night I happened to be looking at the preview for the movie I Want to Dance with Somebody for Whitney Houston. And God has already shown me the career that he wants me to have. And I was having a long debate with him. I went to sleep, woke up, went right back into the debate with him, went into a dream, and God was showing me the certain things in the dream. And then I woke up and I still wasn't feeling all that great. So when I saw her word this morning, I'm like, yeah, that's right on time. Because of the fact that there are things that God's showing us even now, and we're starting to second guess. Not so much that we're second guessing what we're called to do. It's the way that it's going to manifest before us. It didn't happen. It hasn't happened yet. And then you're like, okay, you got 2 different ways that this could happen. Or this could happen this way or this way. And God's trying to surprise you. And you're sitting there like, I don't even care no more. It's taking too long to get here. It's taking too long to get to where I'm supposed to be going at this particular point in time. Why do I have to go through all of this? Can we just get this over with? I was listening to another young woman. She's going through something similar that I'm going through, and a lot of her people are going through something similar. And she was talking about how I don't even care about that no more. I just want it one and done. I don't need all that. And I'm the same way. But then I'm also dealing with myself at the same time. Is the reason that I don't want it that way because of the fact that I don't want to have to deal with all those people. And then at the same time, it's the element of whether those people or the people you want there are going to be there, or so on and so forth. And then when you look out into that situation, that you're not going to see what you thought that you should have seen in that scenario. And it's just a scenario of, I just would prefer to deal with none of it, to be honest. And that's, am I running from the exposure of it all? Because the past couple of dreams I've been having it's been in relation to exposure. And it's sometimes we've been sitting up there like, God's exposing things. Sometimes he's exposing you. Sometimes he's preparing to expose you to everyone else. And you're kind of like, I could do without all that. Can we just be over? I'm done with this. I'm a little bit over this. In the name of Jesus. And he's like, that's not what I'm saying. And he's got you in that headspace, and you're kind of like, I could be over this. But God's saying, which way in which you think it's going to happen, or which way in which you thought it was, could you just let it go? Let go of that. Let go of the expectations. Let go of even your fears around the expectations of what you think that you might end up being led to walk into. Get over it. Be done with it. Because it isn't what you thought. It's not going to be what you thought it was going to be. And you still have to operate. And I know you're tired. And you know you're sick of the whole thing. But I noticed, like, on the 20th, it was either 20th or it was the 21st. It had to be the 21st because we're on the 23rd, I think. Today is the 23rd. Is it not? No, we're on the 24th. So it had to have been on the 21st, which is the day that we switched into fall. I started to notice myself literally coming into a headspace where I was like, look, if you don't do that now, then you're not going to do that now. But I release that and let that go. I'm not going to sit up here and fight with that. I'm not going to sit up here and worry about that. I'm not going to sit up here and wonder about that. I'm going to release that and let it go. I'm going to keep going in the direction that I need to go and do what I need to do right now. And Lord, you show me what I need to do right now, because if I got to prepare to get ready to walk into that, then prepare me for that. If you want me to prepare and work on these things in order to prepare to walk into that, then prepare me for these things. You're showing me that you're preparing me to walk into a launching pad. Then what am I launching into? Am I just launching into a different lifestyle, or am I launching into another business opportunity? Meaning, the things that I've been putting my hands to in this season are either going to shift, or the way that I've been doing what I've been doing is going to change. Because the biggest thing that I'm concerned with is, because I have this project and this project and this project and this project that I'm working on, am I going to be abandoning these projects when I go into that season of my life? Or am I going to be finding a way to align these projects, to birth them out in such a way that they begin to not just manifest, but to, and don't get on me about that word, it belonged to God first. That because I'm shifting into these things, these new things, this new area, this new lifestyle, am I releasing that? Am I putting my hands to that? Am I releasing that for the stress of what that is, and just focusing on this? Because the Lord's shown me two things that he's gotten me preparing me for. And I'm like, okay, well, I know that. But I'm like, well, we already wrote that out. We already prepped for that. We already got that sitting there waiting. We already got the design, the idea, and all that kind of stuff. But in what way are we working with that? Are we working with that in relation to this? Are we melding the two together? How are we doing that? Am I moving from this thing to the other thing? And then as I'm growing in that, I'm going to be growing as this person in this relationship in this way. So what does that look like? Trying to see, because okay, only got about 2 minutes. So the whole point of it is you're growing in leaps and bounds. You're turning into something new, and you're stepping into a ring. And somebody did a video, Dr. G did a video called "You're stepping into the ring," and you're stepping into a ring. And the fact of the matter is, for those of you expecting and preparing for kingdom marriage, the reason that y'all been sitting outside of it for so long is you got to prepare for the warfare that you're getting ready to walk into as you prepare to walk into these relationships, because these are a different caliber. And the people around that person may not particularly like you when you get there. So you may be in a war with the people that are around them, whether it be their family or the people that they've been associated with for years. So you got to understand that some of it is going to feel like you're stepping into combat boots to fight in whatever area, opportunity, season, contract, whatever it is that you're called to in that season. But you don't want to get knocked out. So you had to go through all of these seasons and stresses and all of this in order to prepare. But once you get there, you will leap into it. It'll be like you've jumped from a 4 feet cavern from here over there, where you were sitting up there when you first started, wanted to jump. I want to jump from here. And it's like you were trying to jump the Grand Canyon, and now God's got you like, I just jumped those 4 feet. It's not that serious. And you can finally run. You can finally do what you're called to do and run into it with the fullness of the capacity in which the Lord has for you. Don't move out of position. Calm down. Your blessings are ready. When God says go, then run. So that's my word for you for today. Till next time, much love, faith, peace, and blessings from Taj McCamera and Love, Faith, Peace, and Blessings Ministries. Until next time, bye-bye.